you weren't able to practice yesterday, as all college football programs mandated by the NCAA. I know from a coach's standpoint, you can never have enough preparation. So I'm sure it's a double-edged sword, because I know you support the philosophy behind this decision, but at the same time, you got a football team to get ready for a football game, and losing a Tuesday practice, which is very vital to the preparation process, had to be difficult.
Yeah, but everybody else is doing the same thing. So that's the one thing about it, you know what I mean? And it's like you said, the reason that we're not practicing, obviously, the cause is definitely the right cause. And since none of us are practicing, you know, nobody gains an advantage. But yes, as coaches, you always want to practice. You always want to watch film. I mean, if you're a gym rat, you always want to get in the gym, or you always want to practice. And so, yeah, we'd love to have got another practice, especially when you're not playing very well. You know what I mean? You want to get some practices in, but just be positive about it. Hey, it was for the right cause. You know, maybe use the rest to kind of heal up a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way we approached it.
We talked to Coach Jasper yesterday on his little session. He was up in the box on Saturday night, and I know why he was up there. There was a extenuating circumstance that led to that, but he said he liked being back up there. It was like home. He spent 12 plus years in the box. Have you thought about it? Did you feel that it helped? I mean, do you think having Coach Jasper in the box helped in any way? And what is your thought as to what you'll do on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously having him up there is obviously great for us, because just, you know, like you said, he's been up there for so many years. He knows the game. He can see the game. You can see the game a lot better from the box. There's a lot more calmness in the box. You know, and the sidelines can be a little chaotic. And so, you know, it's great to have Coach up there. You know, we brought him down, you know, because we felt like Ivan needed him. I mean, Malcolm needed him last year. And we thought with two young quarterbacks this year that never really played, maybe that calming presence of Ivan being right next to them on the sidelines will help. But then you lose his eyes in the box. You know what I mean? He's got experienced, seasoned eyes from the box that you see things. Sometimes from the sideline, it's kind of hard to see alignments and what different things people are doing. And so him coming down, you lose that. But the calming factor of your coach being on the sideline, you know, we felt like it was vital, especially at that position, you know, the quarterback position. But we'll continue to talk about that. We haven't settled on it, but, you know, we're still discussing it, Wags.
Well, and I think part of what you're saying when he came down last year was the guy that was that calming presence on the sideline, relaying information from Coach Jasper to the quarterbacks was Mike Judge. And that probably played a part in your decision. But I think now with Jason McDonald being on the staff for a couple of years, maybe you've been able to replace Coach Judge in that role. I mean, I think Jason filled that role this past Saturday, right?
Yeah, it had really nothing to do with that. It was more so Malcolm when we brought him down. You know, as Ivan talked to him, he felt, you know, Malcolm wanted Coach Jasper with him. And so whatever he said, we were going to do. It's a lot less scientific than you think, Wags, and stuff. I mean, Malcolm wanted Coach Jasper next to him during the games. He said, okay, you're coming down. You know what I mean? Ivan would love to have stayed up. But then we discussed it this year, just, okay, none of our guys have played. You know, is it better to be in the box? Should you be down there next to the sideline when they come off the field? You can kind of talk to them. So that's kind of how it went. So we went from last year, it was more Malcolm wanted Coach Jasper there. And then this year we had some inexperienced guys. Maybe Ivan being there could help. But then we also recognize, you know, Ivan, then you lose his eyes in the sky, so to speak.
I'll pass it off to someone else.
Kareem.
Hey, Ken. I know a lot of people have asked about Miles Fells this year, and I'm going to do so also. You know, on a team with so many good leaders, what kind of separates him?
The thing about Miles is I think he's a great person, comes from a great family. I think he's very proud of where he's from, Kareem, and experiences that he's had in life. And I think that pride in where he's at, he's not in, he embraces, where he's from. And so I think he wants to use those life experiences for himself, for others. I think things don't get him down because he recognized things I'm going here are hard, but you want to see real hard. I mean, he's dealt with a lot of things, where he's from. During the pandemic, I remember when we had an early meeting, Kareem, in the pandemic. I can't remember when it was, maybe in May or so. And guys are talking about being down, kind of stinks being at home. We don't get to go out, and we're kind of locked down. And he had kind of mentioned that some of his friends, guys that he was were getting shot, and it just brought a totally, guys are complaining about not being able to go out, and he's telling us, talking on these things of some real life tough experiences. So he brings that. He's a great person, has a great heart. I think his work ethic, Kareem, and who he is, he's one of our best players, but he works the same way every day. And I think that pays dividends for his peers. They say, like, wow, here's one of our leaders. He works hard. But he sets a great example for the young guys. I always see him mentoring the young guys, helping the young guys with questions or helping them do things. He's so beloved on our team. I mean, everybody loves Miles. And I've said this before, and I really mean this. He's one of the best people that I've ever met. He's just a really good person. Just he is who he is. He wears his emotions on his sleeves. You know where he stands with things. But just his heart, he's just got a pure heart. He's just a great human being.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kareem.
Bill Bergman.
Coach, you touch on the 1-0 mentality every week, but heading into Tulsa, just getting the team back in the right direction. What do you want to see from the guys out there on Saturday?
Well, we got to, obviously we'd like to play better. We got to be able to run the ball against Tulsa. We got to be able to stop the run. And like I said, it's the same thing I said last week, but it was true. I mean, you can look at the game. That as good as Shea is, you got to be able to stop the run. And it's the same thing. We got to be able to do that. We can't turn the ball over. Turnovers. We had a huge turnover last week. We can't do that. So just our normal stuff, Phil, in Navy football. We can't turn the ball over. We can't beat ourselves. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to stop the run. We got to be able to throw the ball on our terms. Those are all the things that we got to do. And probably the final thing is we have to be more consistent on both sides of the ball. We're very inconsistent everywhere. We're just flashes here and there, and we can't string things together. We're in great shape to, score, our third touchdown, and then we have an illegal procedure on, 3rd and 4. That was a killer. That was a killer. People talk about the fumble, which had hurt us, but I feel like the momentum would have been totally different because we could have ate more clock, kind of, which is us, And we were right in our wheelhouse, 3rd and 4, because if it's 4th and short, I'm going for it. And, we had the penalty, so it kind of killed us. We had to settle for a field goal. And then, so just being more consistent and not beating ourselves.
And then you and Tulsa share the bond of being 2 of the 5 smallest FBS institutions in FBS ball. Obviously, the AAC has some of the largest institutions out there, but this bond that you guys have, you're showing that as a small school, you guys can compete against these bigger institutions. What are some of these pluses and minuses of being a smaller school and recruiting against institutions that have maybe 30 or 40,000 kids?
Yeah, I don't know for them, Phil, I don't know the dynamics of recruiting for them. I know they're a really good academic school, so obviously I'm not sure their academic requirements. Our deal is, we look at it as a small school, but ours is more of we use that kind of a badge of honor. Just talking, it's hard to get into the Naval Academy. There's normally between 15 and 20,000 applications every year to get into the Naval Academy. So it's hard to get in here. It's like the golden ticket and Willy Wonka factor. I mean, it's hard to get. And so we use that. So we kind of feel like it's a benefit for us in recruiting. But like I said, it'd be hard for me to talk about how they use it. I'm sure they use it that way too, just to, very elite enrollment there. So, but it's cool that they're doing well this year. Like I said, I'm really good friends with Coach Montgomery. He's probably my closest friend in the conference that I've known for many years, being in the conference, and he's a really good football coach, and he's a good person.
I know that a couple guys went out, and at the very end of the game on Saturday night, your wide receiver Ryan Mitchell went down. Do you have an update on us with that? Because I already asked Newberry about Diego and Mikey and some of the other defensive players, and I know that's game time decision. But Ryan Mitchell, do you have anything on him?
Yeah, Ryan's probably done. And so it's a tough one. I mean, he's a great leader on our football team. We're gonna miss him. It was a pretty emotional deal after the game because it was looking that way that it was probably over, and so really heartbroken for that kid because he's been through so much. Broke his hand early in the season, was playing with the cast, and I mean he's had a really good season. He's played really, really well, but he's been a great model. Like I was telling Cream about Miles. Guys like that, these two seniors, they come to work every day, whether we win or we lose, it's rainy or sunny, it doesn't matter what type of practice. They come to work every day, and Ryan's one of those guys. He just works so hard. We have our catapult things that our GPS that kind of gauge how far you've run, the energy that you're expending, and we always have to try to tell him to slow down a little bit. Because his numbers are always off the chart, and we're trying to save his legs a little bit, but he never listens. We tell him, okay, you don't have to, when he catches the ball, you don't have to run 80 yards. He always runs 80 yards, and you give up because he's not going to listen. That's just him. He's just a hard worker. But the other guys see it. He sets such a great example that it's hard to be a slacker if you're a young guy, because you see the seniors like him and Miles Fells running 40 yards. I mean, even if you're tired, some guys might want to catch a pitch and run just 10 yards and turn around and come back. They're like, okay, I better keep running to the end zone like these other guys. And so he is a great standard bearer of our program, Ryan Mitchell. We're going to miss him.
Well, as I say, I mean, you can probably withstand the loss because you're so deep at that position with a lot of talented players, but those other players don't bring what Ryan Mitchell brought. And since he got the cast off, he made some big plays, some, touchdown catch, that catch he made of Dalen's pass, I guess that was the Houston game, or maybe it was East Carolina. I can't remember, but that stretching grab. But he brought a lot to the table. I guess it's the intangibles you can't replace, huh?
Well, and he plays on every special teams. You know what I mean? He does anything and everything you ask of him, and he never comes off. They'll be in the course of the games. And you can see it sometimes. Sometimes when you have a starter on special teams, maybe in the third or fourth quarter, a guy like, hey, can I get a blow on this one rep? Maybe on a special teams rep. That's not Ryan. He takes every rep. I mean, he's in there, whether you're up by a ton or you're down. I mean, he never stops. And he's an amazing kid. But I said we're going to miss his presence, like you said, on the field as a player and as a leader. But I'm grateful that he'll still be able to be around us, because him just being around our players will buoy their spirits.
What's it been like for you getting the opportunity now to step in and make a name on defense?
Well, obviously, seeing Evan out is just like a terrible thing for the team, and he's also one of my best friends, so it's hard for me to see him like that. But it's obviously best for him, best for his health. And I knew, like, when he was done, I had an opportunity, and I just I wanted to take it and run with it and just see what would happen. Kind of how it played out.
And what is it about the defense now that you guys are working on so many different guys that are kind of playing in different roles? What is the biggest thing you guys have been emphasizing in practice ahead of Tulsa?
Just keeping the game plan simple because we got a bunch of new guys in there. And our motto as a defense has always been just to lead effort, and I think that's something that's never going to change, and that's been here ever since Newberry's been here. And just understanding their tendencies and seeing what we can do to combat that. Essentially, is what's kind of the game plan right now.
Having the background as a sprinter in track and field, does that help you as you can, once you decide where you want to go, give you that step to get there?
Yeah, I think speed. Obviously, speed is a really important. I think it's a pretty important thing as a DB to have, and I guess like my track experience was good for me and covering these fast receivers and trying to make a play on the ball. So yeah, I think my speed, it helps me out a lot.
I'm sure you guys are excited to be back home. What has it meant to have the Brigade of Midshipmen at the games for you?
It's pretty. I mean, it's good to have a little sense of normalcy, but it's cool to have my roommates there and my friends there that don't play football. It's a cool experience. I wish everyone could be there, but in 2020 it's just not a thing right now. So
many of your friends that are playing college football from Montini, are they also playing on teams that are playing schedules?
So yeah, one of my buddies plays at Northwestern. One of my best friends from home is actually a starting linebacker at Army. So, and then there's a couple other guys from my area that are playing college ball. But yeah, I mean, Big Ten started late, so Northwestern is 2 games under their belt, I think. So, it's just different.
So they're up against the same things you are this year, dealing with the same things?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Hey, talk a little bit about Saturday night. And we had a long presser with Coach Newberry, and he said multiple times he was disappointed. He thought the defense had been making progress, getting better. He saw an upward trajectory, and it hit him hard about how the defense played on Saturday because he thought his own exact words, it was a step backwards. As players, thoughts?
I obviously I was disappointed too. It's one of those things, sometimes you gotta take a step back to move forward, I think, and I've complete faith in the defense and Newberry's play calling and his philosophy, and that's behind us now. So we got to have that 1-0 mentality this week.
And obviously, I spoke to him about the injuries and players missing and all that. And, obviously you have a ready-made excuse for why you didn't play up to par on Saturday night. But Coach Newberry wasn't buying that. And he just he's tired of making excuses. Your thoughts on that front?
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to realize, making excuses isn't going to help you in the long run. We have a long list of excuses, I think, but I mean, I don't think making excuses for ourselves is a good way to go about getting better and trying to turn this thing around. So, yeah.
Well, last for me, I mean, he talked about missed opportunities. I think he has a MOPs or something like that. But, not to pick on you, but you had that running back dead to rights in the backfield on a play. It could have been a tackle for loss and wound up a touchdown, but you weren't the only one that had missed opportunities. But can you talk about why that's so important, making plays when they're there to be made? Because obviously that a tackle for loss goes for a touchdown. That's a dramatic difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kicking myself about that, by the way, but I think that we have a small margin for error, especially with the injuries we have, and we gotta make the most of our opportunities when they present themselves, and we gotta execute. We just gotta execute better, and put the mistakes behind us. Though, don't let it affect us in the game, or watch it on film and learn from it. It's pretty much all you can do.
Thank you, Mitch.
No problem.
Bill Bergman.
Hey, Mitch, we talked with Devin Matthews just about new month, new mentality, just rebounding from a 2-3 October. How'd you guys look to start a clean slate now in the month of November against Tulsa?
I think, that goes back just to our 1-0 mentality. Coaches always say that, and it's pretty much what that means to me is you forget about what's in the past and focus on the now, try to get better for this week. and whatever happened it's behind us. There's nothing we can do about it now. So.
And then specifically about Tulsa, this offense, how are you guys preparing for it?
Just like we do every team, just looking at the film, making adjustments to the defense. If a guy's down, next man up. Simple game plan, stuff like that. Nothing too special.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? One last call. Wyckoff, good. Wags? You got follow up?
Well, if you could maybe talk about what you see out of the Tulsa quarterback who's having a good season and the overall passing game. Coach Newberry said they're very balanced. They'll take what you give them, but I think, that passing attack is something to be concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, again, we play a lot of good quarterbacks, and I think he's one of the better ones. They have good athletes, and I think we just gotta stop him on the run and make him pass, and hopefully we can make something out of it. That's all I can really say about it right now.